Community Link on Wish TV is brought to you by the Business Equity and Opportunity Show.
Thank you for joining us for Community Link. I'm Caroline Mays. Standing in the gap for vulnerable populations while empowering youth to actively transform their communities is the mission of PROACT Indy. This organization is helping youth cross social, racial, and economic boundaries. To tell us about PROACT Indy is Darren Slack. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here, Caroline.
We're happy to have you. Tell us about PROACT Indy. What's the mission and when did it begin?
PROACT began in 2010, and it began from a heart and vision to see youth and their communities engage with each other differently. As a kid, I felt like I didn't have a voice, and it stemmed from a disability that I have in stuttering. And so having a disability like this, as a kid, I physically could not talk sometimes. And I found my voice by giving my life and dedicating my life to service. I went all over the world serving other people in vulnerable communities. And in those experiences, what I noticed is that people that we were serving looked like me. The people that I was doing the service with did not. And that really impacted me in such a way that I wanted to see youth who come from marginalized communities be seen. And so I kept noticing that people were yearning to be seen in vulnerable backgrounds. And many organizations that pride themselves in engaging youth in the communities always focus on targeting the youth that are traditionally called leaders, the National Honor Societies, the Key Clubs, the Rotaracts, fantastic organizations, but they engage youth that are already tapped to be leaders.
Right.
And there weren't many organizations that were engaging youth in the margins to be the givers and creators of service and enter PROACT. So 2010 is when PROACT started, and here we are, 30,000 kids later, 13 years, and we're not slowing down.
Wow, just what a powerful mission and a powerful story as well. So in your mission, you talk about standing in the gap.
That's right.
And empowering youth. Tell us specifically how you're doing that.
We have designed a curriculum that really focuses every month around a social issue affecting our communities. So issues like racism, sexism, environmental justice, poverty, homelessness. You name it, we cover it. And we have content around it. And we infuse social emotional learning within this curriculum to teach youth not only how they can understand themselves, others, and their community, but so they can understand how they can address and be empowered to address those issues in the community without being affected by them themselves. And so most of our youth are experiencing the issues that we are talking about. And so in our after school program, we spend 4 weeks learning about a social issue, and then we partner with nonprofit organizations in the community that are addressing these issues every month, and we take our youth in service projects to address those issues alongside our partners in the community. And so it's amazing how our youth can be transformed if we just give them the opportunity to be themselves and to grow and apply what they think that they should see in their community happen, and we just make it happen for them.
So with this program, just briefly tell us about some of the impact that you're having.
We have seen youth who come to us who do not know who they are or know how to articulate themselves, and by engaging with us, they have developed this great sense of confidence and a sense of self-worth. One of my favorite quotes is that each of us is more than the worst thing that we've ever done.
Wow.
And most of our kids are oftentimes assigned a label because of something they may have done. Yeah. And we are giving them a mechanism and a transformational throughway to really help them discover who they are and discover what they can do and what they're capable of. And once a youth has a capability and insight about themselves, they can move mountains.
Absolutely love this.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of your program needs in our last 10 seconds.
One of our biggest needs is transportation. We mobilize about 200 kids every week, and we like to take down a barrier of transportation to provide them with the resource to get to and from program activities. And so if there are any resources and support that we can help to increase our fleet from 2 vans to 10, we would love to talk to you. And you can also listen to our podcast to be inspired by transformational stories from our youth and partners. It's called Stood in the Gap, and then learn more about PROACT at proactnd.org.
Love it. Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's so powerful and impressive.
Carolyn, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for joining us for this week's Community Link. To share this story or learn more, head to wishtv.com. We'll see you next week.